Hello, Guru Nation. Welcome back to another episode of Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru. I'm Dan Sfair. I've got Adam Brown Sr., CEO at ClinArc Inc. He's got a huge LinkedIn profile. How did you amass such a big following on LinkedIn, Adam? You must be like working LinkedIn like nonstop. And I notice all your posts too, and they're very timely now with what's going on. We're going to get into that also. This is September 2020 and an election year for everybody watching in the future. Hopefully, we survive all this. But what's going on, Adam? How's everything?
Everything's great, trying to make it out of this whole COVID, intact.
Yeah, yeah. One good thing about COVID, if there's a good thing, I mean, it kind of put clinical research at the forefront of people's minds. Like Joe
Absolutely.
Sixpack, I guess you can call. I don't know if you can call him Joe Sixpack, but the average Joe, right, out there, and we're gonna get into patient recruitment and diversity in clinical research because we have to. But first, I want to get started with you. Like, who are you and how did you get started in clinical research? I have your LinkedIn bio here, but can you explain kind of like your background?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll tell you the gaps. It, right before, I graduated from college around 2014, and I went home sleeping on my parents' couch. like everybody else.
Hmm.
I had my my first job out of college was I was working at a doggy daycare. And I remember I was sitting there, I was scooping. You can imagine, but I was scooping, and I'm sitting here like with a biology degree, thinking like this cannot be it. So so then I just got on Indeed
With a
and just started
biology degree.
blasting. Hmm?
You had a biology degree, you said.
Yes, I have a degree in
Okay.
biology. So I got on Indeed, and I just started blasting my resume everywhere. I didn't care who went to Walgreens, whatever. I just didn't want to work at this doggy daycare anymore.
Wow.
So
Yeah, with a
uh,
biology degree, I
I,
mean, I could see that. I could see that.
INC research uh, INC research called me and said, "Hey, want to interview?" So I go there, and people who follow me on LinkedIn, they know I'm just like really straightforward. So I just told the lady, it was three of them. I was interviewed by three women, and they said, tell us about yourself. And I was just honest with them. I said, hey, I'm sleeping on my mom's couch right now. I and the job looked really cool. So and then from there, they called me back. I remember when they called me. They called me on my lunch break when I was working at the doggy daycare and said, you got the job.
Wow.
And at that very moment, I walked into my boss's office and said, hey, I gotta stop.
Yeah, from the doggy
That's how
daycare.
that's how it all began for me. And then I worked at INC Research as a feasibility specialist.
But how did you get this job? So this is 2014. Like we have an academy, we have a CRA academy, CRC academy, and we have students like they pay to gain internship experience so that they can get jobs like that. And
Right.
you got it like just by blasting your
I
resume out.
didn't
Like,
know. I didn't. I went into the interview not knowing anything. All I knew is I didn't want to work at this doggy daycare anymore. So
wow, okay, no
yeah,
kidding.
it was more so like me going. I went to this interview and I just told them like, I prepared. I studied the industry, and then I went into this interview
Okay.
and I got the job. But
Okay.
from
How did you
there,
study the interview? Like you bought books from Center Watch? What
I
was
didn't buy
back then?
books. Around that time, YouTube was around, so I would get on the internet, try to understand the phases of clinical trials, really trying to understand the different aspects of as much as I could within that time period. You can't learn everything, but I
Yeah.
wanted to really understand what type of questions they would ask me in this interview. And luckily, I went into that interview just being my authentic self,
Mm.
telling them exactly what I was dealing with at the time. Like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. This job looks really cool. I can do it, and it went off from there, and I was
Wow.
able to secure the job. But that position in particular, working as a feasibility specialist, taught me a lot because I was able to meet with doctors. You're talking to doctors around the world. So I may call somebody one day and they're in France, or call somebody another, South Africa. I was talking to people around the world. So that really made me comfortable with talking to people. I mean, there were days where I would have to make 85 calls, 85 calls. And I would call a doctor, he'd get off my phone, and then I would have to, call a different one. You know how it goes.
They think you're a telemarketer.
Yeah, no, it was literally like a call center. I mean, that's the only way I can explain it. It was you had to understand the science, but it was a call center. It was like a bunch of smart people in a call center. That's essentially what it was.
Wow. No key. I mean, we deal with, we have sites. You have a site now. We deal with feasibility analysts. I wish they would be calling us. Like usually we're calling them now.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just like I don't think I've ever made that many calls in my life.
So
And,
they basically gave you, like INC gave you the studies where they still needed more sites and nobody else wanted to do it. So they said, "Hey, Adam, find us some sites." Basically.
so the way it was set up when I was there, so they would say, "Hey, this sponsor wants to wants to run this trial," and my job was to, I was a POA, so I would sign off on the CDAs, all that stuff, negotiate the terms. I mean, and this is my first. I had been. I was literally in the industry for maybe like a couple months, and I'm negotiating the terms, all that stuff, and then getting the stuff finalized, for the visit. But I essentially kind of laid that groundwork so that when it's time for the visits to happen, all that stuff, the CRAs could just take over. But
wow.
I would kind of lead the meeting, represent the INC research, in the meetings as the feasibility lead, and give them an update, give the sponsor the updates on what was happening during the trial, how many sites we had on board, whether we weren't having any responses and all that stuff.
Yeah. You seem like a people person, like very outgoing. Especially I could see on LinkedIn. I mean, I can see in this interview, this is the first time we're talking besides typing to each other. You seem like a people person. Do you think that was like the biggest reason why they hired you from the interview?
I didn't. It's weird. I think that I am. To answer your question, I am. But it wasn't always natural for me. I would never forget when I was in high school. My mother. Okay, so my senior year of high school, they called me into the office. They said, "Adam, we just want to let you know you're going to be valedictorian." I said, "Excuse me."
I saw that on your LinkedIn. I don't know. I just glossed it over.
I said, "Excuse me." Listen to this. This is how terrified I was of public speaking. I said, "Well, if I get a D, will I be able to drop down to like 3 and not have to talk?" And
no kidding. No kidding. So you're telling me you're a natural introvert?
I actually, it just happened out of nowhere, to be honest with you. After a while,
Wow.
just like talking to so many people, your brain just says, "Yeah." When I was in college, my professors will, after they see this, they'll be like, "Oh, we get it now." But I'll have to call my mom before like every presentation because like I would be sweating and
Yep.
I would like have to hide.
Man, I'm the same, dude. We are the same then because everyone assumes I'm an extrovert because I do all these podcasts and videos. I had to teach myself. I was nervous as hell. And in high school, I was similar to you. No valedictorian, but like getting up to speak, I would just do anything in my power not to. College, I a little bit started coming out of my shell towards the end of college, and then when I got in the industry, I kind of had to because as a business owner, you kind of have to talk more. But then I like the YouTube, I kind of did that to force myself to start talking in public, and now people assume I'm extroverted. It reminds me a lot of you.
It's like, no, I'm not. It's not that easy. Trust me.
Yeah, and everybody leans towards one or the other. Like even if you teach yourself to be an extrovert, at least for me, I still default. Like if I'm in a room and we're not talking about clinical research, let's just say we're in a room talking about stocks, I'll default to like the background. I'm not going to be in the front and center.
Yeah, but I also think that's a good part of like leadership, though. You have to know when like. Like I have to tell my people, hey, this is not my space, guys. I don't know anything about this. So being able to gauge that is important, though. To be honest with you, in leadership, in general, like you have to know your limits. You have to know when it's time to scale it back.
I would have
Because
never guessed for you, man. So did you end up doing the speech?
so I walked out on stage in the so I had to speak at Xavier, the Xavier University, and we had the graduation in there. And this is a funny story. And I
Oh,
walk out on
Xavier.
stage.
Xavier is a good school.
Yeah, I walk out on stage, and all I see is thousands of people, and immediately I feel the sweat under my cap. It just came down
Wow.
and dripped out, and my face is on the project, like on the. It was in an arena, so you can see my face on the screen up above.
Wait,
So
you
I'm
gave
thinking,
the
I know
talk
these people.
at Xavier University?
Yeah, yeah. So I had
I
to
thought we
I
were
had to
talking
speak.
about high school. What? Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was no. So this was high school,
Oh, okay.
but we
Oh, you did
graduated.
it in
We
Xavier.
graduated at the arena there.
I gotcha. I gotcha. I
So I had to
gotcha.
speak. Yeah, so I had to
Okay.
speak at the arena, and it was like thousands of parents, all the kids' parents, and everybody's down on the floor, and I'm sitting, and I'm 18-year-old, 17-year-old Adam is. I'm sitting here, my eyes are wide
Wow.
open.
Fight or
I've never
flight,
given.
like your heart.
I have never listened to. I've never ever in my life given a presentation to more than 10 people, and I'm sitting here looking at this. Like, I got to do this, and I did it, but in the middle of it, to even make it worse, right in the middle of my speech, this young lady who was in my class throws up, literally right. So like I'm talking and I look down and I'm watching this lady throw up in front
Wow.
of me, and it's just like
She had a hangover.
she was pregnant.
Oh my God.
so,
Gee. So that would
so
make
I'm
it
sitting there
more,
just like
that would either make it worse or better for you. I don't know. It could go either way.
it made it worse because it's like I want to get this over with, So I want to hurry up and get this over with so I can sit down and let the other people talk.
Yeah.
But no, this lady had to throw up, and I had to sit up here and wait for them to clean her up,
Wow.
so I can finish going. So it's been a process for me. I've been thrown into the fire.
Yeah. That fight or
But
flight system is real. Like when you get up there before you're about to get on stage, I took beta blockers before. They really do help. One of the doctors prescribed me beta blockers. I was like, dude, I'm nervous like in public speaking. He's like, oh, you should take beta blockers. They do work. They like calm you down, but they give you nightmares, like really bad nightmares at night. So I don't know. It's not really an everyday thing.
I think I'll pass.
I don't know. Sometimes you don't pass if it's a large group. You'll take the nightmares, but not every day.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that.
That's crazy. I would have never guessed because seeing you on LinkedIn, like you're very active on LinkedIn now. I would have guessed you were like class president in high school and like Mr. Popular and all that stuff.
No, I believe it or not, up until I got to high school, I was an F student.
Wow, like junior high?
Not because, but not because like I wasn't smart, because I was bored in class, so I would go to school and go to sleep.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember my teacher got so mad that during a parent teacher conference, she told my mom, she said, "Yeah, at the rate he's gonna be working at a grocery store." And my mom came out of this conference so mad. So don't you ever embarrass me like that again. But then I went to high school and became valedictorian. I don't even know what happened. To be honest
That's
with you, I don't know.
crazy.
I don't know
That's
how it happened.
crazy. That's crazy. I would have
It
never
honestly
guessed.
is.
Would have
I'm
never
just as
guessed
shocked
that
as you are.
about you. So after the feasibility analyst thing, like then you started learning about research industry, right? Like as you're
Yeah.
doing that, your next role was bioclinica, was that?
So my next role after that was, so I was working at it was this Inflamax Research. It doesn't exist anymore, but
Okay.
it was a Canadian CRO, and at that company, I was working at on a site level. So I'm going to paint this picture for you. I get this job. It's like I've never done anything. It's like I had to go to this site, and essentially our team got the site running. It was an empty warehouse. We had to get a chamber in there because it was an allergy trial.
Hmm.
So we had to get a chamber in there so that we could run the trial. We built this site from the ground up, and then we had to start getting patients, develop the process, the timing, because you have the clock and all that stuff. You got to hit the time points and all that stuff. So I got to experience literally building a site from the ground up.
Wow.
And running that, and I would literally go in the chamber, change the pollen counts and all that stuff, and then go in, count the pollen at the microscope, talk to the patients. I mean, it was
No
it
kidding.
was crazy, but I learned a lot. That taught me how to really engage with patients and really engage with people from different, again, similar to the whole feasibility role. It allowed me to develop those skills to
Mm.
interact with people and be able
So
to convey
that's what kind of put site ownership on the map for you then, right? Because you're a site
Yep.
owner now.
Yep. So and then after that, I worked at CTI. And CTI, I worked there as a research associate, and that experience was more so it allowed me to see how a CRO works just across the board, because I was helping project managers, I was helping the business development. They didn't have a feasibility department, so I was actually helping the business development team execute like just
Oh, they would
the
have loved you
preliminary
with your
feasibility
background from
work.
INC, right?
Yep. So I was pulling on that to
Hmm.
really, kind of build out, what we were doing at that company. But CTI they're a mid-sized CRO, but I learned a lot there. Just being able to really see how all the departments work and how what roles they play in the execution of projects and all that stuff. I mean, from helping, I help HR, I help IT, I help project managers, I was on the study team. You know,
You've done
they
everything.
they switched offices. I helped move the boxes.
So a
So
generalist. You started out
you
as a
know what I mean?
specialist.
Like
You
seriously,
became
like
a
I
generalist.
had to do all the stuff that nobody else wanted to do. But it taught me a lot. You know what I mean? I learned how to do it all.
Do
May
you
not be
believe
perfect, but I learned how to do it.
so do you believe in like the theory I've been putting out, like, you're going to have to start out as a specialist most likely. Nobody's going to hire a generalist, but
Yep.
then it's your job, your responsibility to become a generalist. You've
Yes.
done this, right?
No, yes, it's important because if so, that's the only reason I'm able to do what I'm doing now. That's the only
Mm,
reason why I'm able to have this conversation with you, because I did so many things.
right.
Like I had to help get a site going.
Mm,
I've called doctors around the world. I've been on the phone with the doctor and had
mm.
no idea what he was saying. He didn't know what I was saying either. So like, so it's I've been in those situations before. So I think being thrown into the fire and not just focusing on one thing all the time, it'll expand your horizon, really, to be honest with you.
Right.
That as you progress, you'll understand, like, say you want to become an entrepreneur, you'll understand where all those pieces go, and I think I love everything that you post, especially with the whole generalist aspect. I think it's really important, because people do need to have, they don't need to just be doing the same thing all the time. You need to really experience how all the pieces work, because if you do, then you'll also be able to have a little empathy for the person that's doing that job.
Man, it's the person's responsibility too. I mean, look, companies don't hire you so that they can grow your career. Like they hire you so
Or
they can
one,
make money. So you can do a role and they can make a profit, right? I mean,
yep.
there are good companies that hire you and say, "Hey, I want to groom you," but they're going to put you on their track they want. They're not going to really necessarily care what you want. It's your responsibility. I talked to a site owner, and you're a site owner, so you know what I'm. You probably have experienced this. I talked to a site owner in Phoenix yesterday. Brand new site owner. He wants that he doesn't know anything about research, so he wants to hire an experienced coordinator. So he's targeting these big sites around him, like on Instagram, to do ads. And I said, yeah, that's a good strategy because those companies, people don't like working there. Look at their Glassdoor reviews. People are unhappy. So you don't even have to compete with salary. You can just say, hey, better quality of life to work here. He said,
Yes.
yes. The problem is, because he's interviewed so many of these people from these bigger sites, they are so streamlined. And it's almost like the company does this on purpose. For anybody trying to break in the industry, listen to this, okay? These companies, not just one, many, they are so streamlined. It's a defense mechanism. They know that if they let you go and a competitor hires you, you don't know anything to hurt that company. You just know how to do one little thing,
Oh yeah.
right? So think
Oh yeah.
about that, guys, all right? It's your responsibility to
For
make
real.
yourself a generalist, not the company. Company could care
Look,
less.
if you really look at my resume, I strategically picked every job that I took. It wasn't like I was just blindly, oh man, I need some money. I'm gonna go apply for a this job. No, I knew what I liked
Huh.
and I knew what I wanted to expand on. So I
Wow.
strategically picked the role. So like, feasibility marketing. I got to understand
Okay.
how I can apply that to the whole marketing side of
Yeah, I was
things.
gonna ask, was that like luck that you did all these random things, or was it on
No, I
purpose?
no, I did it on purpose. It was on purpose. I've always loved feasibility, but I wanted to understand how everybody thought at all these other companies, so that when I built my company, I understood I understood what the problem was.
So when was that goal? Because not everybody comes in and says, "Hey, I want to like start a site or a business." Like what was when did you get the goal to
um,
for Clinarch, I
you know,
guess?
I would say so you know, Clinarch for me, I knew that I wanted to start something on my own. I didn't know when. I didn't know if I was going to be 50. I didn't know when I was going to start it.
Hmm.
But to be honest with you, our industry, um, I'll be honest, being an African American in our industry, you hit a lot of barriers, and I've had to overcome them, and it got to a point where it's like I want to create a platform that allows that where people can go. It doesn't matter it truly doesn't matter what color you are, but especially those that are minorities and have they're dealing with this pressure in the industry. It's
Underrepresented.
hard, it really is, to be honest with you. And you deal with as an analyst, I would submit work, and it would just be, I mean, they would just tear it up every, and I'm looking like, I would tell them things like, why would you run all these trials in the United States for HIV and all the patients are in Africa, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I would bring those things up, and they would, get this out of here. So, for me, it was just like, okay, I have to go create my own platform. I have to go create my own platform where I can get my creativity out and share it with the world and really let people see that, this is what I was trying to show you. And now, since COVID happened, now it's like, oh, now we see, so it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you when I was doing my analysis. But
So when did you start Clinarch?
2019.
2019. Most people that want to start sites, I tell them the hardest thing is also the first thing you have to do, which is getting your PI. So how did you do that? Did you already have somebody in mind, or
No,
how did that work?
so Clinarch is, to explain what Clinarch is. Clinarch is not a okay. So Clinarch is not necessarily us. We don't actually own the site. So what we built is think of it as like feasibility on steroids. So it's like if you ask me, Adam, can Clinarch run this? Can you find sites for this study? Yeah, we can.
Ah,
We'll get you
okay.
sites. We already know everything about the site. We know what type of scanners they have, all that stuff. So
Wow.
it's not like oh, we need a month to run this feasibility. You come to us, cool. We have sites in South Africa.
So you really created like a unique kind of company here.
Yeah,
Like,
so it's not. Yeah, we're not a site. We are sites.
aha.
We essentially. But now we're also being asked to do community engagement. So we're being asked to go to communities and engage these communities. So we're going to be.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. So it's more than just think of where I'm trying to redefine what feasibility is.
I
Because
gotcha.
usually what feasibility is just like a little line item. Oh, feasibility no, like we need to spend more time on the feasibility process because
I
that's why
see.
things are messed up. Because it's just like, oh, this doctor, he told me he could get 500 patients. Did you guys even look at the population data around there? Like, did you?
Oh.
So we do all that. We
They
already.
usually don't.
Yeah, no, it's just like, oh yeah, he said he could do 50 a month, and then he enrolls no one.
Yeah, we'll take their word for it.
So
That's interesting. So what category is that? Like it's not a CRO.
it's not a category.
Yeah, it's your own
We
thing, right?
yeah, it's completely different.
Category buster.
I use what I knew from feasibility to create essentially a way for sponsors and CROs to gain intelligence really fast.
That's
So it's not
smart,
like
man.
yeah, so it's not like like I said, we got to send our Survey Monkey, and no, we know exactly, I mean, I would have doctors call me, hey man, can we do this study? Blah blah blah. They call me.
How did you do
So
it? You convinced doctors to get like their EHRs into some portal that you can have access to,
yes,
or
but so no no
that's
no no. So
smart.
we don't maintain their health records. We keep we know all like the data around like their capabilities, all that stuff. And
Okay.
we also, if the sponsor needs us to, we can go engage the communities around these sites.
I
So we'll
got you.
send a
I
team
got you.
out to
Okay.
literally, so like underserved communities. Like 71% of our company is minorities. So when we go to these underserved communities, we're going to be able to connect with them. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like you have to talk to somebody that doesn't look like you.
Right, right.
So
Which
it's
is a problem in our industry.
exactly.
I saw your
So
post yesterday. We got to talk about that.
yes, absolutely. So yeah, so my platform, I'm trying to create something new here. I'm
Interesting.
trying.
Okay. Because I had an idea, and it's not my idea, but I went to DIA last year in San Diego for the conferences, and there's all these virtual trial companies out there that will pay a doctor like $2,000, and these doctors do it. They'll pay a $2,000 for like doing a study, and then when I ask like, "What's the study?" they say, "Well, we go to the EHR and we put it all into our database, and now we can do retroactive studies." So basically, what they're doing is they're siphoning off the EMRs from as many doctors as they can. And there's a big CRO funding this, but I'm not going to name them. But they're not really like on the company. They're just like on the side
Right.
funding this. So all about data, man. Like I'm
Yeah.
trying to do something similar, but to be upfront, at least with our site network about it. But it sounds like you're doing something similar, but not with the health records.
Yeah. So the whole health records piece gets a little tricky.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the. I don't want to be on the end of that.
It gets very tricky, but that's where it's headed. I mean, well,
it is. Yeah,
that's where
absolutely.
pharma wants it to go. I don't know if
Right.
that's where it's headed.
Right. So I'm trying to. What I'm trying to do with my platform is expand access and awareness. That's
Hmm.
the ultimate goal. So
Expand access and awareness. Okay.
by knowing everything that we know about the sites, we can tell the sponsor right then and there, this is where you should go. This is where the patients are. So that could be an underserved community. You know
So
what I
you
mean?
guys
That could
visit
be,
the sites, like the ones that join your database. You guys visit the sites and do
meet
like
with
a Zoom.
them. It's, it could virtually
Okay.
right now,
Okay.
but yeah, we meet, talk back and forth, all that stuff. So, it's a it's a lot, but it's it's needed. We have to create a way for the sites to be heard that don't have experience.
Yeah.
I was I'm an analyst. I that's all I do. I like numbers. So I sat there and looked at the numbers. I'm like, wait, you mean to tell me 82% of sites that have experience have conducted 10 trials or less? Like, think about that. 82%
82%.
of the sites that have done trials, period, have like 10 trials or less.
Wow. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. And
Yeah,
what's
so
the other stat? It's like 90% of doctors that do their first study never do a second one.
that's what I'm saying. So it's like you can't if you have your kid ride a bike one time, they're not gonna know how to ride a bike.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not fair. They have to get practice. So we can't say, oh, they're a bad site. Don't ever go back there. Like, these people, that's probably their first trial.
Yeah, using that analogy, it'd be like the kid, let them ride the bike, they're gonna fall. They're never gonna want to ride the bike again, and then you're done with it, right? The kid's never gonna ride a bike.
exactly. So it's just like we have to create an environment where people are able to have these opportunities to
Mm-hmm.
gain access to trials. And that's
100%
one of
agree.
and that's one of the ways that we can solve the issue is by at least going to the right sites. You
Mm.
know what I mean?
So if sites want to join the ClinArc network, is it a network or you're just like basically working with any site that wants to
Any
get
site
more
that wants to join.
studies?
It's not. We don't. It's free. They can
It's
go on the
free.
website.
So the
Yeah, they
site
can go
don't
on
have to
the
pay you anything. Like my sites can join ClinArc and say,
website.
Adam,
You,
give
you
us
know,
studies.
no, yeah. So you don't. It's free. We'll work on your behalf to interact with sponsors and try
Ah,
and
I'm gonna
yeah,
introduce you to a couple people after
yeah,
this.
yeah. So
That's good.
it's like a red box.
I like it. Okay, I got two people. I'm gonna introduce you to. Yeah, two people. Monica, you've probably seen her on videos. I'm gonna email her and CC you on it, and we'll get started. Because I'm doing something similar with our site networks. We have a model where like we work with sites in the industry. If they want to get studies, they pay a monthly fee. We help them with every. It's kind of similar to what you're doing, but we don't charge the sponsor. I think you're monetizing from charging the sponsor, right?
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So I know because a lot of the sites, like for example, like we have a ton of sites in Africa, like a ton, and we know what they're able to do, how many patients per month they can see in a particular indication. So like in order to get that type of information, I don't want to charge you. Like it probably it takes a while to enter that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'd rather have that on hand so that when an opportunity comes, I can put you forward. You know what I'm saying?
I
So it's like
gotcha.
it's more incentive for the site to say, I'll spend time on this. I don't have to, I don't have to pay for it.
Right. This is
And the
this
sponsor will
hasn't.
say, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think this model. I don't think it's been done. I mean, yeah, it hasn't been done. I know there's study brokers out there, but they always charge the sites.
Right.
I think they also charge the sponsors
Everybody.
as
Yes.
well. And then there's models like mine where we charge a monthly fee, but we're basically like helping the site do anything they want. Budget, you want source documents, you want SOP, you want study, anything, we do it for you. But yours is different. Yours is like a more of an analytics type of yeah, like you said, feasibility on steroids.
Yeah. So I mean, that's literally it's almost like being prepared ahead of time. It's like
Hmm.
let's not wait for the feasibility to come in. Then we're scrambling to find bad sites. It's like let's just have
Yeah.
it's ready.
And how do you make sure like let's say like how do you keep track like let's say you recommend a site to a sponsor and then the site doesn't perform like how do you how what do you do with that site?
I mean, we'll track all that stuff. So we'll stay in close contact with the sponsor. Someone will be assigned to the study, and we'll
Okay.
yeah. So it's not like we just send the sites and you don't ever hear from us again. It'll be a matter of literally like, hey, how's it going? And, oh, they didn't recruit anyone. Okay, cool. Note that in our system. So
Yeah.
like the way our system is set up, when the sites are entered, like we have AI that can do all that stuff. So like I can figure out the best sites that I to
Wow,
recommend
okay.
and all that stuff. So yeah, it's it's pretty high tech, but it's not at the same time.
Yeah.
The goal is to get people opportunity. That's at the bare minimum. That's what I'm trying to do. Get somebody a phone call at least. If you're a site in Africa and you haven't run any, I mean, and the sad thing is that these sites are really eager to participate. Like they want a shot,
Yeah.
and they don't get it. So it's just like we have to get past that. We have to give these sites opportunities to participate more than once. Like who does something once and it's like perfect. Like no entrepreneurs don't even do that. Like you can't start a company just like perfect off the
Right.
like
Right.
it just doesn't
Exactly.
work that way.
Interesting,
So
very interesting business model. Um, what have you been getting good like fair reception from the industry so far? I know it's a weird year with COVID.
it's been crazy, but yeah, I mean, like we talked about the virtual trial company. We helped one expand their services. to different sites because they wanted to get sites trained. So we helped them.
They're out there. They're out there.
And I mean, they came. So we helped them. We helped them get sites trained in about 30 countries.
Wow. Yeah, there's virtual trials that are virtual trial is like used now by all kinds of companies.
But it's
Really,
different.
virtual
Yeah,
trial means like patients' visits are done at their home as much as possible.
right.
But this company I met at DIA, their version of a virtual trial is siphoning someone's medical records to their database. That's not a real virtual trial. But they're calling it the same thing, so people are confused.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So once you peel back the layers and you actually meet the companies, it starts to you start to see the difference
Hmm.
between the platforms.
Immediately.
Yeah.
So let's
But
talk
yeah,
about diversity. What about diversity in clinical research? Because, I mean, what a perfect time, with all the stuff going on. Tuskegee was like what, 40 from 1940 to like 70 something,
yeah.
uh, 30 years.
Mhm.
And so that was what, 40 years ago?
Yep. Yep.
Uh, African Americans are still not represented in research. Latin Americans are still not represented. Basically, everyone's underrepresented in research studies. I looked up a lupus study. We got to talk off camera because I got a thing for a lupus study. We want more minorities in it. Lupus, I think, is like 3 or 4 times more likely to be diagnosed African American or Hispanic American.
I have
And
family with
you do,
it. Yes, I have
yeah.
family with it. You know what I mean?
And
So
in
so
these studies, it's mostly Caucasian participants, right? And Caucasian male.
yes, I mean there's an underrepresentation of women,
Yeah,
not just skin color, women
yeah,
and minorities. So like one thing that we also I see what's going on with COVID is they'll these companies will say, oh, let's tell the public how many minorities we have. Well, you report, okay, so you can't say like, okay, so we have you know 60% white and then like minorities 40%. That's like 3 ethnicities. So like we need to know, like that could be 7%, black. So you need
yeah.
to get more black people. So it's like we don't minorities doesn't just define like everybody else. Every
Right.
people are individuals. So we have to also make sure that like each ethnicity is represented or race is represented. And I think we have to get to a point where it can't be looked over, because at the end of the day, you tested on the individuals that the white people that are essentially joining the trial, and then at the other end, the minorities are the ones taking the medicine.
Right.
So
Right.
it doesn't make sense.
I used to think it was just about optics, like especially now in this environment. I was skeptical, like because we've been hearing this diversity thing for years,
Real.
but I don't really see action. And then, so I always thought it was like optics, right? Until I had a few conversations with some big pharma, and they were like, "No, no, Dan, it's not just optics. I mean, that's good too. Who doesn't want that? But the FDA will not accept our data if it's not representative of the general population with this condition.
Yes.
So
Yep.
it's like it's business to them.
Yeah, no, it's serious. Especially when you consider the fact that it can impact like the what? Sorry, Siri's talking.
A Siri, Siri start recruiting patients too.
But yeah, so the a drug can react differently depending on your ethnicity, or race. So you have to be mindful of that. So it's like we need to make sure we have that data, to support whatever we're doing, and it's going to take us. It may take a little more effort. It may make the
Hmm.
trial longer. To be honest
But
with you.
how do we find more minority participants? I mean, my theory is get more minority clinicians involved, or at least if you can't find minority clinicians, at least find clinicians in the communities that treat minority patients, right?
So that's a very good idea. But one of the issues is that right now it's a shortage of minorities in terms of
Yeah.
investigators and all that. So we have to be willing to go the extra mile and take the trial, essentially take the trial to them. We have to be able to create a safe space in these neighborhoods where people can say, "Hey, I want to go talk to you about this trial," because they're scared. I talk to they. I'm from the communities. Like I
Yeah.
get it. I understand the fears. Like I told you when I was saying, hey, I submitted for Indeed. I didn't even know anything. I didn't know anything about clinical research. I didn't know
Hmm.
anything about it. I didn't know it
Hmm.
existed. I would always see like, you know, ads and stuff, but I didn't know it existed. So like taking that mindset and and really trying to understand like, hey, these people have no idea what you do, and you're asking them to take these drugs, so we have to get over that barrier, and also take, like you said, take into consideration that Tuskegee did happen,
Yeah.
you know and I hear that a lot. Like
And
it's
let's
not
not
like,
forget
oh,
how it happened. It didn't
yeah,
just happen on accident. You know,
right.
they got caught.
That's exactly. So it's like you have to understand, like, it's our duty. When I say our duty, it's because we are also researchers. It's our
Hmm.
duty to bring the trial to them. It's
Yep.
not their duty to see our ad and then they're not going to see our ad and be like, oh, I can't, I'm going to.
Yeah, that's
That's
my
not going to
biggest
happen.
pet peeve. Like pharma
It's
thinks,
not going to
hey,
happen.
we're gonna run ads, and they're like the most hated industry. Pharma is like, other than maybe insurance, I don't know what's more hated. I think pharma's number one.
I mean, seriously though, it really. I see the raw like comments from
Yeah, you
people like,
sent one yesterday. Let me pull it up
yeah,
from
these
LinkedIn.
are actual, like, people contact me for clinical trials, like, in my community and stuff, and around, like, I've had people contact me from Atlanta for clinical trials. Like, I mean, like, people contact me in these underserved communities to join trials because they see somebody that looks like them, that talks like them, that can tell them the truth. And that's not saying that people on the other, that's not saying that these other companies aren't telling the truth. It's just saying, hey, I trust this person because you know I can relate with them.
Yeah. I mean,
But
it's common sense. Like, but I don't get, there's a lot going on. You're actually busy on LinkedIn, man. I'm trying to find this post. I remember seeing it yesterday, and I
you'll be
just keep
digging for a while,
scrolling.
man.
Yeah, look at you. Look at you go, man. Oh, here it is. It's like 20 posts down, and it's yesterday. Dude, you're big. Congrats on
Yeah,
what you're
you
doing
got
on LinkedIn. Um, so let's see some context behind this one. Well, you explain it. I have the quote here, but you explain the context there. I asked a minority in the U.S. if they would take a COVID vaccine within the next year. Here is the authentic response I received. FYI, I frequently receive, like you just said, right? So
uh,
what did they say? They said, I'd trust you. Oh, I'd trust it if you said it was okay because you're in the clinical trials biz, but it's gonna be hard for the scenario. A hard no for the scenario.
right.
So even that you're a black man, and this is probably a black male also, it's still a hard no.
That's what I'm saying. So it's we have to, like I said, we have to be willing to get there to those those communities, have those discussions with them. We have to get past all the ads, all that stuff.
Doesn't
It's
work.
not. That's like you are literally wasting money. I worked in marketing. You're literally wasting your money.
And there's
You know what I'm
companies
saying? Like,
built on just that business model, and they continue to exist because that's better than nothing.
yeah, but my thing is, like, you're going to keep getting the same people because
Right,
nobody, if the trust isn't there, they don't trust you. It doesn't matter what ad you put
right, right.
in front of them. They have to see your heart, see that you have empathy. They have to see that we
Wow.
yeah.
You know
That's
what's
what I
crazy? You know what's crazy, Adam? When I started in research, so I started at a research site, and we did mainly schizophrenia studies. And schizophrenia here in LA, okay, the 4 times more likely African American diagnosed with it than anyone else. So when I started in research, 90% of my patients across a bunch of studies when I was starting the site from like '05 to 2010 until I started to diversify into other areas, it was heavy schizophrenia. It was like all African American. And then I kept hearing on LinkedIn, even back then, they were talking about, oh, underrepresentation in clinical research. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Like, this is all I have are black people doing my studies. But I was so naive because we had nurse practitioners that were African Americans. We
It
had
makes a difference.
patient recruiters that were African Americans. The doctors were white, but the sub-Is, a lot of them are Black, Hispanic. I mean, we had a lot of minority presence at our
Yeah.
clinic. So I just took it for granted. I was like, what problem is there? Like,
They
if there's a
trust you.
problem, it's we don't have enough white people in these studies.
They trust, but they trust you. That's the thing. You don't
Yes.
realize it, but they trust you.
Yep.
It's not.
Yep.
It has nothing. You don't even have to be a doctor. you know,
No. No.
they trust the information coming from you.
Yep.
So
They even
we
started trusting me, like white dude. I mean, I'm Romanian, but I'm Caucasian still. Like I would go down, to the hood where they had all these group homes where patients with schizophrenia would live. People would come out, skeptical. Who's this person coming in our neighborhood? Then the patients would say, no, no, he's cool. And then I started bringing pizza, and then we just started talking about research. We didn't have problem recruiting.
but that's why I was saying the empathy. Like we have to let people see our heart. And we're all scientists, so we we're you just we're not people. We don't engage with people like that.
It's
So like
grassroots, man. That's what the
yeah,
industry doesn't want to do.
that's what it's going to take. Grassroots. I say that all the time. I have a
But it's
bunch
easier to throw money at Facebook and say, hey, this is problem
of
solved.
Facebook like
We're here in
Facebook is over
Beverly
there like
Hills office doing Facebook ads.
I mean, I've literally been on marketing teams, and I'm just sitting, and there's, we only got one referral. We've been running this for a month. And I'm sitting there like,
You just got to
it's
go
like,
out in the community. Like that's,
you have to
but
go
there's
there.
no real way to, I guess it's not an easy way to do it because with ads, you just sit behind a computer and you imagine like,
So
your ideal patient and that's it.
remember when I was telling you about the community engagement, and we send a team to the community?
You
That's
guys
what
do
we're
that.
doing.
Mm.
Yeah, so we'll send a team to the community, engage them, have a pop-up stand, engage the community. They
Like
can
lunch
come.
and learns basically.
Lunch and learn. They can, sign up. So say a sponsor wants to, hey, we want to run a trial, and, I don't know, diabetes. Cool. We have iPads. They can sign up on your pre-screener on the iPad right in the community. They don't have to. They don't have to go
It's what
wait for
works.
a
It
Facebook
what
ad.
works.
You know what I'm
Absolutely what
saying?
works.
They don't. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to feel weird answering on a Facebook ad. It's like you get to
Yeah.
talk to me, hey man. This is what I do. I'll tell you about myself, how I got here to your neighborhood. You know what I mean?
It's so strange that this industry has this problem because they, on the surface, pharma is always talking about inclusion and diversity. But then I think like there's a big disconnect between explaining what the problem is and actually doing something to
Yeah.
fix the problem. I mean, you see this in politics too, like from both sides. They just talk about the problems all day long
Uh,
because it's better for them to talk about it than to do it. But in research, it's not better for them to just talk about it.
yep. So
It's not politics.
and that's what I'm trying to do with my company. It's my company. Yeah. On LinkedIn, I talk about the issues. I talk about the issues, and I sprinkle in some solutions too.
Yeah,
But
I see your
but but
videos
but
here.
we are addressing the problem. We're not, yeah, we can complement our services with some ads and stuff, but that's not like we're not that's not what that's not our backbone. We're not gonna sit there like, oh, we're gonna use, Facebook to save the study. That's not what we're doing. We're going to the community.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna
We
take,
literally
man.
will get on a plane and fly to the community and talk to the people and engage them. Have them fill out, like I said, have them fill out the pre-screener, have them like all these things. So it's like we're trying to really get the industry away from not having those face-to-face interactions
So
because
what does your company look like? Like what kind of people do you hire as far as like their roles? I imagine it's a lot like for the grassroots, you're gonna need a lot of minorities. But like, what are the roles that these people are doing?
so I mean we have like you know community engagement specialists uh, and they'll be on the ground. Those would be the people that will be part of the teams that would go and do that operation. And then we have a consulting aspect where I've literally you know I've done some of the consulting work. I'll consult with companies and help them do their kind of the preliminary feasibility work. Help them get some sites and all that stuff. So, like I said, we'll literally walk them to the patients. Like,
Yeah.
say, here, we'll find you the sites, and we'll find you the patients. Here you go.
So your company's basically like a connector.
Yeah.
You
So,
connect
and
clinicians.
CROs are really good at project management. So we let them
Yeah,
help.
yeah.
They can do all that, but we are helping them find the sites, and then CROs, they can be the CRO, but
Right.
we step in and find the patients.
Wow. I mean, I know you just started this company last year and you had no way of knowing Corona and all these social issues were going to come to forefront. They were always there, but they're
Literally,
like,
right after I started, it was like, poof, coronavirus.
but you know what though? This is like your company's perfectly positioned, I think, to capitalize on this because I mean, it's literally just fall into your lap now. Like this is the opportunity. I've never seen that. I've always heard pharma talk about this. I've never had them call me and
Yeah,
say, "Hey, how do we do this?" Hopefully, fingers crossed, because we got to talk off camera about this project that I'm hopefully going to sign soon. That we can work with you on. But yeah, I mean, what is your goal for the next decade with ClinArc, or do you plan on starting another company, or like what is your goal in the next decade?
for me, ClinArc is this is this is what I've been planning for. This is what I saw. These are
Hmm.
the things that I'm addressing are the things that I've been meaning to address. It's just that it wasn't exacerbated like it is now. Just
Hmm.
like now, people are rioting. You know what I mean? Now people
Yeah.
are, things are like coming to a head. So it's like it's necessary, or else you're not going to be able to run your trial.
Right.
So yeah, I built my company on purpose the way I did. I named it ClinArc. ClinArc, clinical arc. Arc was used to save lives.
Well, I
That's
always thought you were a clinic in Arkansas, man.
nah, man.
That's
No, not even, no, not even close. No,
okay. I'm
no.
glad you
So,
explained that.
yeah, so yeah, that's why I named it ClinArc because the ark, in the Bible was used to save lives, and
Yeah,
that's what it's perfect, man. I'm telling you, it all lined
makes
up
sense.
perfectly.
Yeah, no, it really did, and this is how you see companies. Like you're a category buster in the sense that there really isn't a company doing what you do. There's elements of what you do that others are trying to do, but not all in one place. And with your
Right.
model
So
that you
and,
have,
and and that's what I just use what I learned and sprinkle in some creativity. It's like making a cake. Sprinkle in some of my favorite favorite recipe and
yeah.
whatnot and try to make it my own way. But
I know you don't like speaking, but we got to get you on the speaking circuit, man. You got to be at DIA, Bio. Why aren't you doing keynotes and stuff like that? What's going on?
well hey man I'm here. Yeah, I
You
just gotta
guys
ask.
reach out to Adam right now if you're watching. I know they're watching.
I had some I'm going to be speaking at it's the
Because you
let
go to
me
conferences, this is all they talk about, Adam. Like, I don't even go anymore. Well, now nobody goes, but I just go to, like,
they don't invite me to the big ones.
this is all they talk about. So diversity, which is going to continue, I think, for the next decade.
Oh yeah, it's
Virtual
so
trial and risk-based monitoring used to be the big one. Those three things, it's all they talk about now at conferences.
so so the Clinical Research Association of Canada is
Okay.
they invited me to speak virtually on November 26th. I'm going to be speaking with them
You
about
got to do
diversity.
it. Don't be nervous.
I'm not. I can't listen. I can't wait. I'm telling you, the nervous bone is gone.
Good.
After it's weird because
It
some days
never
I'll be like,
fully
okay,
leaves though, man. If you're a true introvert, I still get it, and then as soon as I start talking, it goes away.
oh, here it comes. You can feel it creep up. Yeah, no. So I'll be doing that. So hopefully, I get some more opportunities to speak because I do think it's important. I do think it's important that not just patients see me speaking about this, but professionals, that are going to come into our
Everybody,
industry.
everybody,
So they
vendors
get
are
to
even
see,
interested. Everybody, I
yeah,
think you're a rising star in this space. Adam Brown, everybody got to go follow him. He's got a huge LinkedIn following. We started this off with that, but I never let you answer. How did you grow your LinkedIn? Like, when did you start it?
so it was weird. I wanted, I just went through this phase where it's like I want to get to know people. You know, it's part of that whole, you know, being an introvert thing. It's like I want to get to know people. So I would add people, so, you know, just get to know them, like leaders and stuff, and see what their backgrounds were. And like it was more so me trying to understand people, because I had been an introvert for so long. You know, it's like I've been a scientist. You know, I would always try to push my limits. Whether it was, you know, when I was in college, I would go explore caves. I would map caves. I've caught
Really?
rattlesnakes. Yeah, no, like I would try anything. Like
Play Legend of Zelda in real life.
no, like I mean, like seriously, like, I went to Arizona and caught rattlesnakes.
Oh, I went to
Um,
school in Arizona. That's cool.
I love it. Arizona is one of my favorite places. I
Yeah, I
love
went to U of A. I've actually have a house
it.
there. We're debating moving there because California. I don't want to get into California. Well, this is not that kind of show.
You should go. No, but yeah. So you know, I've always been the type to really try and push the limits and really try and put myself in situations that would allow me to grow. And you know, whether it's mapping a cave, listen.
That's crazy.
I'm from Cincinnati, and I remember looking down into the black hole, and people are just like getting the ropes and zipping down, and I'm freaking out. But you know, I did it, and I felt good afterwards. You know, we were down there for maybe 4 or 5 hours, but you know, it's nice to be able to conquer those things. And then you know, same thing with public speaking. It's like it's no different.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep doing it, keep trying it. You know, you're gonna. I remember my first time being invited to speak, and it was not too long ago actually. I think Pfizer was like hosting a event with like Covance or something, and I know for a fact that people there were thinking like, this guy is terrible.
Did you
But
do it though? You did it?
I did it. I stood up there and sucked.
Mm-hmm.
I was so nervous. I had to bring my wife with me. It was bad. But but yeah, you know, I stuck it out and you know, ate the bullet and you know, kept pushing forward. But you know, like anything, it takes practice. You know, it truly does. Like you don't realize it, but
That's going to help you build your brand. I think you're doing a great job. I do think you're a rising star in the industry. And it's funny, I discovered you on TikTok, and then I realized we're
that's fun.
connected on LinkedIn.
Because I created that, it was just like nobody's ever gonna see this.
Yeah, I thought I was like slick getting on TikTok early. I was like, all right, I'm here first because I did that with you. I tried to do that with YouTube. I think I did, and then with Instagram, kind of. So TikTok, I was like, all right, I'm gonna be here first too. And nope, Adam Brown was there making video for like a year before I got him. So
Yeah,
hats
man. You
off to
know,
you, man.
I try to, you know, I try to watch for trends. Now, I am an analyst, you know. I try to watch for the trends and see where everything's going. You know, that's honestly one of my gifts. I naturally see trends. Like I'm able to like take for some reason I'm able to like kind of zoom back from just like everything and try to
Yeah.
really see the big picture. And I think that allows me to just do some of the things that I do. I don't half the
Yep.
time I don't even know. I don't know what's going to happen, and it just plays out how I thought it was going to happen. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy how that stuff happens. So what do you think clinical research is going to be like? Let's say we do this. We should do this again before 2030, but let's pretend like we're doing this at like 10 years from now, okay? I'm older, probably got a bigger beard and all white. But what and you're still young. So what's the research? Are we still going to be talking about diversity or like what are
No,
we going to be talking about?
I don't think so. I think um, what's happening today. This is going to sound crazy. Don't you know? I understand, but it was necessary. The the climate that we're experiencing right now is like uh, it's like a pimple. You know, like it was bound to happen, but we just didn't know when it was going to pop. You know, it's just like it was. You know, it could have been 10
Sometimes you
years
got to
from now.
pop it yourself.
Yeah, you gotta, you know, but we're gonna figure it out. But I don't think there's no way we can go back to just the way things were because you know too many people have now been brought into the light. You know, too many people are now seeing what's been going on.
Yeah.
So I think you know down the line, I think we're going to see more leaders like having this conversation that look you know like me or you know they may be Native American, they may be Hispanic, whatever. You know, I think that we're going to see more people of color, you know, having an opportunity to really understand, be able to give their perspective. And also from a decision making standpoint, I think we're going to see more in this, in decision making positions, because that's important. I mean, not even in terms of race. I mean, just even if you're just talking about, you can't make decisions for people that you don't understand. It's that simple. So you have to allow them to be in the room, because it just makes sense. You don't know the nuances that go with, that come with being African American.
Right.
I do. I know. I lived it. I know what it feels like. So it's like you have to allow those perspectives into the room. There's also an issue where it's like, only technically older people are allowed to be in leadership positions. They're wiser. That's not true. People who are 30, 20, they should if they're ready, they should be able to be in the room. They should be able to sit there and tell you what they think and how they can add to the discussion, because that's important. Because somebody who's, I can't go talk to my great grandmother about TikTok. She has no idea what TikTok is.
Right.
But it's important. You know what I'm saying? But those platforms are important. And somebody who's 20, 25 is going to know exactly how to use that.
Right.
To build your brand. So it's like
your grandma analogy is actually good, because it'd be like, like a 20-year-old trying to teach her how to use it, as opposed to like one of her friends who maybe is tech savvy and is explaining it to her, right? It's a little bit of a different context. They understand her issues. They're more likely to get her on TikTok than the 20-year-old who doesn't even know how to explain, doesn't understand life without a cell phone.
Exactly. So we have to allow those different perspectives into the room. And I think over time, it's going to take time, because it's been like this for a long time. But I think we're going to see a lot of change. I mean, we're already seeing change. People are scrambling to figure out how to fix it now. So
yeah,
hopefully they keep going, and I'm going to do my part to make sure that they keep going. But yeah, I am actually seeing some of the change. Companies calling me that wouldn't otherwise have called me. I mean, so it is changing, and I'm happy. I'm happy that it is, because people. Another thing that we have to get over. One of the things that I've experienced is just people that, if you talk differently, people think that you're uneducated. And that's not really the case. People grow up in different environments, so they talk. They're going to talk how they talk. that's how they were raised for 20 years or however old they are. So we have to really expand and be open, like truly open-minded. I'm not saying let somebody in that's a felon and they've I'm not saying crazy stuff, but like
those
really
people are in anyways.
No, I mean, yeah, I know. I'm nothing against felons, of course, nothing. But I'm just saying we have to be open-minded. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We have to get.
I think the industry does a good job of the hiring for diversity, more or less. I've seen a big improvements over the last few years.
Grow.
Yeah, like CRAs now are like you used to just see like white female. Now you see like Nigerian, a lot of Nigerians. You see like Asian, Hispanic. So we're starting to see more of that. But I always tell people, like, if you're trying to break in, breaking into the industry is one of the hardest things to do. Adam and myself, we kind of got lucky. But it's tough now in a 2020 world. But look at all these problems that we just discussed for an hour. Okay.
Right.
Nobody is going to necessarily give you the chance. You give yourself the chance, and you can create your own business. Create a DBA. You don't have to get an LLC. Create a DBA. You're recruiting patients, studies for sites, physicians. You're helping them brand. Whatever you're comfortable doing, you do that. Now you got experience. Now you just put yourself in the industry, right? And so especially important if you're a minority, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, we need those patients in research studies. If you can find a niche for yourself, that's your way to get in right now. Not waiting on Covance or Quintiles or they're IQVIA now, IQVIA to give you a chance. You give yourself the chance.
You have to. To be honest with you, you have to. Because you giving yourself the chance is going to give other people the chance. Believe it or not. Because you're gonna have empathy when it comes. If I see an African American trying to make it in, and that's not to say I'm excluding any other race. Of course, I would never do that. But I'm saying I'm going to understand what they've been through. You know,
Mhm.
and I'm going to want to give them a chance. You know, so
Mhm.
it's like we have to. It's important in that we do let other people come in and have have a presence in the industry.
Yeah, we exactly right, Adam. We put everybody. I don't care your race. The employee mentality is to let someone else decide for me what I should do. And you need to, even if you're going to be an employee, you need to start thinking more like an entrepreneur. At least treat your own career like your business.
You have to have a game plan. You just have to. I mean, because somebody's going to tell you where to go if you don't have a game plan.
Yeah, look at that site in
And
Phoenix.
you're going to hate
You're gonna come here and do just this so that if somebody
it. you're gonna
can't
you're
tell
gonna
them
be
anything.
organizing the TMF for
That's
yeah.
right.
So
That's right. Adam, it was a really good interview, man. We got to do more.
absolutely.
Um, where can people? I'll put links to the LinkedIn, to your LinkedIn profile underneath the video, or if you're listening on the podcast, to the show notes. Anybody, just reach out to Adam. He's a rising star in this space. I'm glad I discovered you from TikTok because on LinkedIn, I think you would have just got lost in the crowd because I had no context, of who you were. But that helped
Right.
me. Like, okay, now I'm paying attention to him on LinkedIn.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, you can. I'm primarily on LinkedIn. Be honest with you, I have Twitter. It's called IC Trends, which is funny because.
Ah, I'll follow you there.
But yeah, on my LinkedIn, I'm sorry, on my Twitter, I talk about basketball, all that stuff. I like watching the
Oh, you
Lakers.
do?
You'll probably see me say crazy stuff about LeBron and all that.
Wait, you're a hater, LeBron hater? I.
I don't know. No, I love LeBron, but
Oh,
he had
okay.
a real they had a real bad game
Yeah, he's an Ohio guy. There we go. I found you.
not too long ago. Yeah, yeah. So that's my Twitter. So I'll be on those two platforms.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm a Clipper fan, but I liked the Lakers when they were like when I was young, like Nick Van Exel, so I like that Lakers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were really good. Hopefully the Lakers pull it off, man. I hope they do. They've been having some sketchy nights. I don't know.
Denver was scary. Can't believe they
Yeah,
beat the Clippers.
it's man. The Nuggets are giving them a hard time right now.
Nuggets, but I think the future of the league might be Luka Doncic, man. That guy, if he stays healthy, he's gonna be a problem.
He's good. He's really good. Yeah.
Really good. So talk to Adam about anything you want, basketball on Twitter, and I'll put links underneath the show notes. Thank you very much, Adam, for coming
Pleasure.
on from Clinark, and we'll catch y'all later. Thank you everybody for watching and listening also. Take care.